Now this is the second video of again the CSS. Now in this video I'm going to discuss about how we position the elements on the screen. So positioning element, there are absolute position and Z index. CSS position property allows absolute positioning which provide greater control over where on a page element or reside. Normally, elements are positioned on the page in the order in which they appear into the HTML5 document. Whatever you have the order, the position onto the HTML5, they will display the same. Specify an element's position as absolute. Remove it from the normal flow of the element on the page and position it according to the distance from the top, left, right, or bottom margins of its parent element. So if you want to give the some position, like if you want to put into the top, or if you want to put into the bottom, or if you want to put into the right, left, whatever you want, you can put it there. Now here, if you talk about this is the one code, the write into the embedded CSS. About here, they are going to use three classes: background image, foreground image, and text. The position means they put here absolute, absolute, absolute here. This one I will discuss later because here, if you talk about here, this is basically the one position of they are going to display how we will use the position of the image. Okay, so now I'm going to discuss about now the Z index. The Z index property allow a developer to layer overlapping element that have higher Z index. If suppose there is some element which they have higher Z index, value are displayed in front of the element. They will display into the front with lower index value. If you have lower, they will display into the back. If you have more, they will display it into the front of the page. So there is a one figure which they demonstrate the relative positioning in which elements are positioned relative to other element. So we have absolute position and we have relative positions. So this one is basically the one code they are going to discuss about some paragraph. They have classes, position, relative, absolute. So this one I will discuss with the use of one example I will give you. Then I will discuss these things. 4.10. So if you talk about here position, relative, fixed, whatever the position is, I will show you the same code with the use of some book. Chapter it is for 4.10. Now if you talk about this, this one is the code which is from the book. Now if you want to see how they are look, so I am just going to open this code into the Notepad++. So here there's a there is a paragraph element, font size 1.3 em, font family Vardhana, Arial, your color red, font size 6 em. So these are basically the rules of CSS which they are going to apply to the element. They use here class super because they give here position relative, bottom -1 ex. So these are basically the positions how we can change the position. This is the example for this. So I'm just going to close this. Now if you talk about here, so this is the position absolute. Positioning element, relative position. These are continued from the previous slide. There is two things: inline and block level element. Inline means we are just going to write into the some inline. Block means where we are going to create a some virtual box. Okay. Inline level element do not change the flow of the document. Examples, they are not going to change the flow of the document. Example is your image, anchor element, em, strong, span. They are basically grouping elements. Does not apply any formatting to its content. Creates a container of CSS rule or ID attribute to be applied to a section. So these are basically called as a inline. They are not going to change any flow of the document. They are going to put into the terms of inline. Now if you talk about block label means displayed on their own line, having virtual boxes around them. They have some virtual boxes like paragraph, all headings, whatever we have from H1 to S6, some div, division, a grouping element like span. These are basically the things which we will use for some block level. Now there are examples. Now examples is there, but later. First, now talk about background. CSS can control the background of block label element by adding your colors and images. So if you talk about here, this is basically the one code which they are going to tell you about how we can change the background picture of the page and how we can make the background attachment. There is some attachment, how we can make fix, how we can put the one element like there is no any repetition. So this is basically the code that they are going to use for body background image URL logo.png. That means they are going to change the background image of the page with this image which we have logo.png. Background position bottom right means where will be the background position. It will be in the bottom right or bottom left, whatever you have to write here. Background repeat, no repeat. That means this is basically the important property, because what happened if suppose you want to change the background image and image size is small, they are not going to capture the whole screen. In that case, whatever they do, they will repeat the image. Like if your image is very small, tiny, they are going to take only the small portion of your screen. So what they will do, they will repeat that image into the whole screen until they cover the whole screen. Background attachment, it is fixed. Background color, they will change the background color of the page like light grow. So this is basically here, if you talk about here, they are going to change the paragraph. So this is the one example. Okay, this example I'm just going to show you with the use of whatever we have into the book, like here 4.11, right? So here this is the image, what so this one, if you want to see the code, see the code what they write into the code, you can see the code here. Body background image URL logo.png, you can see that logo.png is here into the same folder. That's why we do not use the full URL. They will take the image from here. Now here background position bottom left, that means that's why the here if you talk about here, it is the bottom left. Now if you want, I want that this image they should be here at this corner. Okay, this corner. So what is this corner? This is your bottom right. So just give here bottom right, see what will happen. Bottom RIGST, save it or refresh it, see what will happen. Now this image is here. Now this image is basically fixed. If suppose this page is very small, so if your page is basically very small and if you want to move the screen, suppose there is a one page, they are very big, so they will add the scroll over there, right? So if here fixed means if you move the scroll from top to bottom, whatever we have image here, they are not going to move the image become fixed at that location, they will not move anywhere. Now here no repeat. Now if I want to remove this rule, see what will happen. Control X, Control S, refresh it. See, did you see? Here what they did, they capture the whole screen with the use of that particular image, because I did not mention not repeat. So that's why they repeat into the whole screen and the image they are going to be the whole screen. So this is the use of that. Up background attachment, they make fix because if you have a one big page and there is a little bit scroll over there, if you move scroll up and down, the image will be fixed at the location whatever we mentioned here, like bottom right, they will not move. Color light gray, that's why there is a background color, there is a little bit light gray. I don't, but if you want to change any background color, like here if I change the background color like suppose blue, see what will happen. Now it is blue, right? So you can change the background color from the CSS with the use of this whatever you want to write. So make it from previous as light gray. So here if you talk about here, this is the light gray. Okay, so same thing we use here. This is the same example which they define there. Now same whatever we discussed before, now they are going to do the same thing, that background image, they specify the URL of the image in the format URL file location. You have to give the location of the file. Background position property place the image on the page using the values top, bottom, center, left and right individually or in combination for vertical and horizontal position. You can also position by using length. If you don't want to use that bottom, left, right, or whatever the thing is, you can also give the some position into the terms of length. Okay, it depends upon you what you want. Background repeating, same thing. Background repeat property control the tiling of the background image. Tiling means same thing, repetition. Setting the tiling to no repeat, display one copy of the background image on your screen. Setting to repeat tiles the image vertically and horizontally. Setting the repeat X tiles the image only horizontal. If you want Y tile, so it will make into the vertical. So same thing which we discussed before, they are going to give here same thing. Fix the image into the position specified as the background position. Scrolling the browser window will not move the image from its set position. The default value, scroll move the image as the user scroll the window. So this is the same as what we discussed before. Text indent. Now we come to the one property of CSS which is called text indent. It indents the first line of the text into the element by the specified amount. Text indent means, suppose if I am going to write a one paragraph into the Word file, what we will do, we will give some space, right? So that is basically called the text indent. You have to specify in HTML for how much you want. Font style, again same thing, allow you to set text to non, italic or oblique. Now font style, they are basically used when you want to apply the rule of italic. Now remember here in CSS, if you want to make the font as a bold, what you will use? Did you remember or not? We will use font hyphen weight colon bold. But for here, for italic, we use font hyphen style colon. You have to give italic, or there are none or oblique, whatever you want, you can give here. They are going to demonstrate how to set the dimension of element. It is here. It is the same thing that here in this code, what they are going to do, they are going to use one CSS, and here background color they are going to change, margin from bottom they are going to give 0.5 em, font family they are going to give 3. Here if you talk about here, they are going to create a one block label like virtual box, and this box contain the width 20%, and here they contain 80%, here they contain 20%, something like this. So this is basically the one example. If you want to see this example here, I will show you with the code. Okay, 4.12 it is here. So if I open this, see this one, the same which we have, right? Now try to understand this code, how it will work. Try to understand. See here, see only the rules. So here we use embedded CSS. I give here element P, background color light blue, light sky blue, margin from bottom I give 0.5 em, and font family I give some Arial, Helvetica, whatever the thing is. Now here we are going to create a one paragraph of with 20% only. 20% means they are going to create a one paragraph of with 20%, means they will take only 20% of the whole screen. Okay, that's why if you see here in this is basically the one paragraph, the width is 20% of the whole screen. Okay, and if you see here, there is a background color light blue sky, whatever the thing is, it is from here, because I mentioned background color light blue sky for paragraph. That's why margin they give something, font family it will become Arial. If you want, you can change from here. Now if you come to this one, this is also a one paragraph, but this paragraph, what they contain? They contain here with 80% text line center. So they are this one, whatever you are going to see, these are basically the 80% of your screen. Text is center. That's what they make into the center. Now come to the last one, with 20% height 150. This one with it 20% and this height they are basically 150 px. And also we are going to mention here overflow scroll. Overflow scroll means if suppose your there are more content. So what they will do, because box is fixed, paragraph we are going to fix up to with 20%, and height we are going to give 150 pixels. If there is a more height, they will not increase the height, they will make one scroll over there. Okay, so that you can use that scroll. Now come to here, this is the same element dimension, specify the width and height of an element. Now they are going to discuss the same thing what I discussed now. Dimension of element on a page can be set with CSS by using properties height and width. Their values can be relative or absolute. Text line property. Text in an element can be centered using text hyphen align. You can give the property like center. Other values are left or right. Overflow property, same thing that if you want to use the some scroll, you can use text overflow property.